one of our teammates kept calling me Applejack, and I just pointed at my bow behind my head, like, excuse you, I have red hair, red boots, I don't have a hat, and Applejack would never be caught dead without a hat.
It's like, I really wonder though, if Applejack gets the little shifters not for fun level, does Applejack get to
That's a great question.
Family prayers, tier keyboards.
Oh my gosh, imagine sister social football. Older sisters versus younger sisters. I think me and the Kitty Mark Crusaders would win. Just saying.
Now my question is, after a football game, do you think someone goes around and picks up like the fallen Pegasus feathers and they like shadow box them for shit views?
That'd be crazy.
Or would that be creepy?
I feel like that's kind of weird because like if like a basketball player would like break a nail and then they picked up the nail and was like, this is gold.
This is going for $10 on eBay.
$10 on eBay. LeBron James fingernail. That sounds like some black market shit. So yeah. Oops, no, I should not say that word.
Family friendly. Hey,
This is a daytime family.
see the kind of language for the after dark.
No one's recording yet, so everything's okay.
We're okay. I did not say it.
Don't worry, you guys are good at it. One just let me signal when you guys are ready and I'll start.
I'm in college student mode. I'm switching to phone mode.
I got 1 minute.
Oh, Swing and Bad Seed. You know the song Fit Right Here, Which My Love?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's like every time I hear Fit Right Here, I keep hearing the Bad Seed. It's like these double religious songs together.
I feel like that's true. A lot of songs have like very similar beats and stuff. Like everything's just like reused at this point. So a lot of people are like, you ripped off that song. Be like, well then I guess I ripped off 50 other songs because they're all the same.
It's like you can argue that question goes with just like basically like woman Stranger World was just BFF and woman Q-Party song. Like,
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I mean, there's a difference between ripping off and taking inspiration from.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right, so
Everybody knows they're doing it for fun.
So we're at time right now. That's our panel. So this is, can I do that? Starting a hobby and why it's important to do so. So how many here have like a hobby that they do? Just about everybody has. a
Yeah,
hobby.
that makes sense.
So when you started your hobby, did you think, oh, I can't do this, or did you just wing it and just go for it?
I just went in.
Just kind of winged
Full
it?
bore. I just found
Just
myself.
I
Go
just
right.
decided to try it
I
and
just-
see if I can.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
a good
found myself.
mindset.
I'm like, oh, this is my hobby now. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's it.
Do you guys have more than one hobby, or put
Yes.
like fingers up for like how many hobbies? If you run out of fingers, just like squiggle your hands. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's about what you should be having. Yeah, a lot of psychologists say you should have 5 roughly.
Coin collecting.
Ooh, coin collecting. That's a cool one. You don't see much of
Actually,
that.
you'll be surprised what odd coins I find.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really cool.
I've come across quite a few Canadian coins. It's in the US ones.
Oh, nice.
Would you like to hear about the strangest coin I found?
You know what? Go for it.
It's an unstamped pen.
Wow.
What? That's crazy.
That could be worth the money.
Yeah. But no, it's for the
It's in my-
collection.
it's in my
Oh,
bag.
yeah.
Keep in mind, keep in mind.
So why don't you go ahead and start with like the psychology of why you should have
All right. So this will be probably like the only like big like speech of this whole panel. It'll generally be more like conversational and like talk about like what you want to do, like how do I get started and stuff like that. But there's actually a lot of like psychological like research that has been done on this topic, and psychologists actually say that you should have approximately 5 hobbies for different areas of your life.
You call it a hobby?
Yes, you can.
You can call them anything a hobby, really.
Yeah, that's true. It's basically a hobby is anything that you do regularly and that you like enjoy doing. So it might not be your job because you might not enjoy doing that, but it could be your job, you know? But basically the 5 types of hobbies are 1 to stay active, 1 to exercise creativity, 1 to make money, and 1 to expand your knowledge, and 1 to evolve your mindset. So beginning with active hobbies, this means that anything you enjoy and do regularly that is active. And maybe most of us, probably, I know I am, not doing this regularly enough. And as a general rule of thumb, you should aim to get 30 minutes of exercise per day, even if that's butt ball. Like, that's fun exercise. Ideally, you want to do something that's like fun for you, and it doesn't have to be overly stressful or like overly active. But like just going outside, like being like, oh, it's a nice day, I'm gonna go for a walk, or like if you have a pet, like just take your pet outside or something. But yeah, you can find like fun things. Dancing also counts as an exercise, or hula hooping. I love hula hooping. And then a creative hobby. So that could be art, writing, or music even. So no matter how bad you are at it, just the process of making something has been proven to improve your mental health. And that doesn't, whoa, I'm skipping a move. Okay, and then, so basically it's just like creating stuff. I do that all the time. But what about expanding your knowledge? That sounds pretty intimidating. I mean, like, do I have to like sit down and read the dictionary? Like, what is Apple telling me to do? No. Not sit down and read the dictionary. Though reading can be beneficial. Reading actually shows that it increases your memory, your knowledge, and your just general vocabulary. And it also can improve your mindset. So you might just be happier if you're picking up a good book. Though Dr. Seuss may not qualify in this instance, like if you're picking up Dr. Seuss, might be a little easy. But if it's at your reading level, I'm not judging. I'm not judging if you can read Dr. Seuss books.
Or you're reading for nostalgia.
That's true. Reading for nostalgia is wonderful. Yeah. But sometimes you just have to learn new things and pick up a book. You're like, maybe this is too like hard for me, but you might want to try it. You can learn something, and maybe you find out that, oh wow, I really like this. Like, don't be afraid to try new things, because like that's how hobbies start. You just like, oh, that looks cool. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it, and then you do it for the rest of your life. So that can be very important. And then, now last but certainly not least, it's important to have a hobby that involves your mindset, highlighting the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new. I know this can be a hard thing to do, and you don't have to do it alone. If you're unsure about a hobby, I urge you to go for it. The worst thing that can happen is you find something that just isn't for you. But on the other hand, you can find your new favorite thing. Life is a journey of self-discovery, so how are you going to know what you like or not if you never dare try? And here is a very fun little fact. There is no such thing as too many hobbies. You can have as many as you want. Doesn't matter. Go crazy, go nuts, but don't overspend. That can be dangerous. Don't lose all your money because of your hobbies. But yeah, I have like 1,000,002 hobbies, including but not limited to crochet, reading, video games, cosplay, drawing, photography, miniature painting, videography, graphic design, embroidery, sewing, singing, learning about classic cars, Dungeons and Dragons, writing, cooking, baking, etc. Yeah, I do a lot.
I went to classic cars and we have one run outside too.
Yes, I am here for this convention and the classic car convention. I am running back and forth down that boardwalk. I love cars. And
They're like going up and down the street here all day.
I woke up for that. I woke up early before opening ceremonies even, just to go out there. Yeah, there's lots of Bel Airs, which are really nice. Bel Airs are like from the late 50s to early 60s. Beautiful, oh my god.
Not the derail your speech there.
And then, yeah, so all this sounds a little too good to be true. After all, hobbies require a lot of time and a lot of attention. I should know. Well, the truth of the matter is you have to make time without letting it turn into procrastination. Just taking small increments of time you have to set aside as a break to engage in some sort of hobby can prove to be super beneficial. And hobbies are a wonderful thing because you can do them wherever and pretty much whenever you want. You can also practice hobbies alone or with others. They can be a great tool to use in solitude in order to reflect and grow as a person, and they can be a fun way to meet new people and make friends. With everything, however, it's important to find a balance. Have some hobbies you are able to practice in solitude, and others you can do with friends. And I hope you were able to learn something and that you feel more eager to find yourself in the wonderful world of hobbies. Thank you. Clearly the English language is not one of my hobbies.
Yeah, so, like, for me, a number of years ago, I thought that, like, I didn't really have any hobbies. I could play video games and some stuff like that, but I decided I I needed to pick something up to be a little more creative. I didn't think I was a creative type. And for me, what kind of got me was, I'm a huge fan of Ember. People in the fandom know me as a big Ember fan. And artists in the vendor hall often don't do a lot of Ember art because she's kind of a unique model. So, like a plush artist can't just throw their standard pony plush and change the hair.
That's
Without the do.
crazy.
So, like, if anything with Ember, especially like in 3D form, like a sculpture, has to kind of be from the ground up. So I thought, okay, let me do something for the Ember fans out there and start making Ember merch for the other people. And I thought, okay, I live in an apartment, so I used to be kind of quiet. I thought, face sculpting would be good. I just went to town, just trying to make an Ember. And you know, I was by myself, just working, and eventually, after a couple of weeks, I actually had a decent Ember head shape. And I just kept on going. Like the more I started seeing an Ember that I liked, the more motivated I got to keep going. And my only goal was just, if I saw this on the vendor's table, would I want to buy this? It didn't have to be perfect, like this one right here in front of me that's for the charity auction. Now, she's far from perfect, but if I saw this on the vendor's table, I would definitely like to buy it. And posting the updates, like I would get a lot of people who like my updates more than like the final pictures. And that's encouraging. And just like my mental health just got better doing it. Like I was feeling, like I was doing something that I actually felt proud of. And like when I first started posting pictures of this one in the Discord, and people were saying, wow, that is so amazing. You say this one's not that great. Like, I can never do something like that. Sure you can. Start. Go out there, get some play. You can start almost every hobby cheap. You don't have to go out and buy all the fancy tools. Like for clay sculpting, the tool I use the most are my hands. I bought clay sculpting tools. I almost never use them. Some of it, like finishing, just could have used a little more.
Celestia
Yeah.
gave us these. We must use them.
And it was just a matter of how much time did I want to put into it. You just don't get discouraged. Like my first Ember nose, I must have redone 20, 30 times. I'll get started, I would shape it, and all of a sudden, that was terrible. It's clay. Ripped it off, started it again. And then that really helped out because I kept going and going. And my first ever clay sculpture I put into Evergreen Northwest charity auction in 2022 sold for $200. And I had never touched clay before. I had never transported clay before, so she actually broke in transit. So it looked like her horn broke, tip of her tail broke off. And I'm sitting here the day before the con, ran to the store and got super glue and glue the stuff back together. Yeah, and then unfortunately, I know Dusty and Foley pretty well. So I went to them and said, hey, I know you're auctioning off this Ember. I just want to make sure that people know that she's been damaged. And when she went on stage, they said, hey, Ember's had a bad day. So
okay.
they were very honest with it, and I was encouraged when I took stuff into the charity auction, everybody can look at it. And my only goal really is the person who bought it is really happy with it. When I go on dates and my date asks me what my hobbies are, my biggest hobby I always say is making people happy, bringing a smile to their faces.
Oh, that's
Everything
so nice.
I do is to put a smile on people's faces. Either something for a charity auction, my best friend's house is just full of sculptures that I've made now. She lives in that house, she knows it.
It's very true. We like display them, like sometimes they have like lights shining on them.
Yeah, and actually, mentioning lights, that's actually another hobby I got into.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a cool room party last year at Seaquestria Fest, and thought, what would be fun? LED lights. So I went and just watched YouTube videos on how to program LED lights.
YouTube is a great tool. I highly recommend.
Yes, you can learn anything on YouTube. It may not be as in-depth as you want, but that's actually one of the best places to start if you think you want to start a new hobby.
And if you run out of YouTube videos, I hear Skillshare is also really good. I haven't had it personally, but a lot of my friends use it and they like rave about it.
So I learned how to do this LED programming, and that got us to this, which I made for the con. It's a authentic light control panel prop that I made for opening ceremonies.
It's so cool.
And these are authentic ride control buttons because I used to be a roller coaster technician for 15 years, so I know what they look like. And so each of these buttons, so we have a safe run for your operator key switch. And the ride stop actually stop the ride. It actually works. Ride start the ride again. Now every set of 4 colors displayed here represents a pony. So I have a button here for switching pony. So
Like a dozen ponies on there.
this one actually represents Applejack.
Yep.
What do you think that is?
Celestia?
Butterfly.
I thought Celestia too at first. You were not alone.
Yeah. I always stuck to the main 6 of both G4 and G5 because it took a while to go out there, research installers, and implement them into the code. But this, like learning how to do the LED programming didn't take a lot of time for me. One, because I have a programming background already, but just looking at videos.
Mhm.
You know, I watched a video for how to just get the LEDs into the controller, and then another video on how to program them. So it's just a matter of how much time you want to put into learning a new craft, a new hobby. And so when I started last year with LEDs, I did 3 different LED displays for this room party I did, because I just kept on going. Every time I thought I was done, I thought of a cool new use for this new hobby. So it could have been like a one-off, kept going. So, like, I thought I was done after Cider Fest. See, you know, this is a cool room party. Everybody loved the lights. One of the light displays was actually it's on an arcade game. There's a video game that I made where you would take this light up this tower. Got that idea from a guy at MagFest did the same thing. I was going to copy what he was doing. And I didn't think that this would turn into another hobby where I would do something for Seaquestria Fest. So, what do you think might be a one-off project that you easily could turn into a hobby?
Yeah, and it's also okay if it's just a one-off
Yeah.
project. That's up to you,
Yeah.
and like what you can like.
And like, this is the clay sculpting I've done, you know, this is now my 4th Ember. I've done Smolder, Spike.
The improvement is actually crazy.
And I'm always looking for the next cool, if I want to start doing poses, I've done a lot of these standing poses, I want to start doing some more cutesy poses. Those take a little more time. But it's like every time, like when I was teasing some people on this, like I was trying to like, oh, how much do I want to show people? Because this would be a fun prop for the opening ceremonies. People did not know that I was doing something with this cool light display on there. I did eventually take a picture of the top and tease people earlier in the week that I was getting ready to start the ride at Seaquestria Fest. But people were just getting excited for what my next project was going to be. And that's what I like, is like the whole thing is just to get people happy. And I'm happy as people are excited to know what's the next thing those are going to do. And like there's actually a fundraiser going on right now with Evergreen Northwest to get some plushies made. And I'll do something really fun. I'll make something really cool for their charity auction if they hit their stretch goal. And people are just going to go, ooh, what's CoasterBrony do? So it's all a matter of how you want to start the hobby. You look at, obviously what you want to do is you want to look at a video of somebody doing that hobby first. I watched videos on clay sculpting before I started clay sculpting. There was a YouTube channel, Ace of Clay. You've ever seen him? He basically filmed a lot of the process, sped it up, of course, so it looks like, oh, hey, I can make a really cool sculpture in 20 minutes. But you kind of like look at that and you say, okay, how can I implement that myself? And then you kind of do some research, you find out, okay, he's using this clay, it's very expensive, much cheaper. You don't have to go run out and buy all the expensive stuff right away. You can get started, as I said earlier, very cheap for most hobbies. So if you want to get started in video game design and programming, which is what my degree is in, you don't have to go out there and buy all the fancy tools that game designers are using. Almost every tool that a game designer uses has some sort of free or really cheap alternative out there. Like there are programming languages are of course free, and like your game engines, you can even start with a professional game design program that has a free tier model. Like a lot of them you don't even have to, you can download the same version that they use to make AAA studio games, and they don't charge you until you actually start selling the game. And that's how like these indie companies get started, because you can make your game and then right before you start selling it, change your license saying, hey, I'm ready to actually sell this, and then you get into a pricing model that allows you to sell it. And even actually for the free tier, you can sell it for nothing. And it's until you make like X number of dollars that you actually start paying the company.
Okay.
So, anybody here thinking of a new hobby that they want to try? We've already gone through who has hobbies, and we just thinking, I might want to try this. What do you want to try?
I want to get into plushes. Making
Plushes?
Ooh, that's a fun one.
That's
Not the small ones.
oh,
big
big
ones.
ones. Okay. Do you,
Oh,
do,
that's
any, do you do any sewing right now?
I was doing a little bit. I'm learning from my mom. I want to say a professional sewer.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's neat.
So do you use like a sewing machine, or you do like hand stitch it?
Yep, I got a second-hand one from it's called Reuse It store.
Okay.
Oh.
They have like people donate stuff and then they resell it, and then I think they donate the money or something like that.
That's really nice.
It's old Singer. It works. So
Singers are really good too.
So for like plush sewing, don't start with like going out buying the expensive pinky fabric.
Exactly.
Just go to Joann and get the cheapest stuff you can
Cotton.
find.
Joanne says so much cotton for like less than $1 a yard.
Yes.
It's
what
so
my,
cheap.
What my mom would use is shirts, old shirts.
That'll work.
That's a smart idea.
Put them
Oh
up.
my god.
And just like I did with my first sculpture, just practice it until you've got that shape that you want. And then you can look, okay, this works for me. I'll go and get the more expensive minky fabric.
Yeah, and plush making is a lot about patterning too. So like, just like get a pattern done out of just like some like cheap fabric. Even like retail stores can just have fabric, or like the t-shirt thing that you mentioned, like old shirts. Just like make up as many mock-ups as you need, and then just like seam rip it, and then you're like, it's perfect. Let's get the good stuff in.
When I was in high school, let's get a costume by buying a dress out of a thrift store and sculpting it.
Oh yes, that's how we actually. I started cosplaying by like doing like alterations and just like finding things in my closet, being like, oh, this looks good, this looks good. But what if it had like a purple color instead? And then I'd be like, oh, that's an easy change. I'll just learn how to do that, and then slowly it just like grows over time. But yeah, that's really cool.
Like I was borrowing a laser engraver from somebody over the winter, and
Casually borrows a laser engraver, Mr. Fancy.
It was actually a very cheap model. And you know, I was just, the goal for that was I was trying to learn how to use it so I can teach the person how to use it. One of those situations. And I just started, once I started getting the actual engraver to start doing its job, I just could not stop. I was just finding new things to etch things on.
Hobbies can be addictive.
Like I was making, by the time I was done, I had laser etched my own convention wallet. Like I was given a wallet for Christmas that I didn't really need, but it had a wallet, that was fine. So I said, oh, you know what, maybe I can make a wallet just for conventions, and when I go to conventions, I'll just put in the bare minimum I need for
A
the
convention
convention.
budget.
And I laser etched Ember right onto that wallet, and it looks amazing.
It does look really cool. I saw it today and I was like,
I was making gifts for friends, many test pieces for the person that asked me to show them how to use the laser engraver, and I don't think this person has used that engraver since I gave back to them. No joke, I don't think they've used it at all. Like, I went out and bought puzzle boxes, and took the lids off them, and lasered, like, OCs with their favorite characters, and their fandom name, and they were just blown away when I gave it to them at HomeCon. And I was told that when they recently moved out of their house, like they made a special like trip, like just for this thing, like they took special care on this puzzle box, like specifically when they moved. I guess it's
oh, yeah, yeah.
That's like, that's how you start things. You just think, what would put a smile on my face? What would put a smile on my friend's face?
Mm-hmm.
That's great stuff for friends with their favorite OCs. Like I gave people sculptures of their favorite characters. And like I was attending a holiday party, gave somebody a sculpture of their favorite pony, and I had to go back out to my car for something, and apparently the entire time I was gone, the person was stopped talking about how cool the sculpture was.
Anyone have any like hobby-related questions?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I have a lot of friends who like build PCs and stuff for like gaming because I'm on an Overwatch team, and so they like do their own like PC builds like for different characters, different games. And it's like really fascinating to watch. But yeah, I definitely consider that a hobby. It's so cool.
I haven't bought a store-bought computer in many years. I always just found it easier for me to buy the parts I want. Sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's cheaper.
I just basically just know going in what I want, what parts I
Yeah.
like, and what cases I like. My current rig has a Corsair case. It has like lights around the fans. It's kind of like dovetails with your LED programming.
Yeah.
Because Corsair has a proprietary software suite called IQ, which lets you design different kinds of programs. So it's like I have a default that I use, but if I want to say play, I don't know, Cyberpunk 2077, there's a lighting scheme for that, or there's a lighting scheme, there are Star Wars lighting schemes, or when it's Christmas time, there's a Christmas time themed lighting scheme that I put up
This is
on
probably
there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not, yeah, well, because I can't decide on the color.
Yeah. And that one I wrote in Python.
Oh, nice.
That's on Python script. I could have used like a bunch of pre-made scripts that people already did. And actually, when I first started, you know, I watched videos on how to set that up, and they said go to this website, get a script, and I did that for testing. And then once I had the test right, I went into the existing script and made my changes.
Well, with IQ, I mean, one of the first things you need to get is something called a commander, which is a module, like probably what you work with. So there's that, and the program itself is like graphical user interface. So all you do is like you just look at patterns and look at light gradations, colors. You know, you've got your color wheel and you've got your shades and stuff like that. You just tell them like what you want. You can just do multiple layers of patterns and stuff. So if you want to say to do something like Doom, you have like a flickering, you can do a flickering flame effect, and it can carry out through the entire thing, like the pump, the fans, everything, the memory modules. If they're all like even like there's an Asus board or an Asus video card, you can get those to kind of, with a plug-in, you can get those to play nice and talk to each other and stuff.
I can get, my next project with LEDs, I'll probably do is, all those boards I'm buying for those have Wi-Fi on them, so I can get them to talk to each other. So I was going to have it, whereas if I'm doing another room party with all the LEDs, if someone finishes the game, it would actually make all the LEDs in the room flash.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's a good rule of thumb for how much you should spend when you're just starting out?
As little as possible.
I would say for like first time like testing it out and stuff, I would say try to spend like just buy bare minimum, like what you need for that specific project. There's like everything you need for this project. If it's like something you need is more expensive, don't be afraid to buy it if you like really want it. But I would say don't like go overboard. Like if you want to crochet one thing that's one color, don't go to the store and be like, pretty color, pretty color, pretty color. You are all coming home with me, and then you find out, oh, I don't like this. Now you're stuck with like all this stuff, and you're like, oh, I can't return it.
And you can have a failed hobby. I recently started, I was going to combine my clay sculpting into resin jewelry. Whereas I would sculpt out the shape of what I wanted, and in this case it was Peony Marks, so I was going to do Peony Mark pendants. And I'd gone out and I had bought the resin, and then I went and bought the silicone mold making kits, and it costed me about, I'd say $50 or so to start this project, because the resin was about $20. The silicone was about $20, and then there's like a frame you can buy. That was about like $10 to $15 also. But I already had the clay, of course. And this is a simple matter of combining hobbies. Yeah, I started doing it, and the first test piece came out okay. It's really nice, I keep on going. So then I went and actually did the sculpting and did the silicone mold. And it ended up being a complete disaster. Like I was hyping up the recipient of my first piece and saying, oh, I've sculpted this with their cutie mark, and I'm getting ready to actually make the mold for it. And I poured the mold came out okay. But when I started pouring in the resin, it just fell apart. And that was about a month or so ago, 2 weeks ago. And I had this, the panel project to do, and I had the Ember project I was going to do. I was like, I gotta stop this. I'll probably go back to it after Winnie City, back for the next couple of weeks also. But don't feel bad about project fails.
Well, one of the things I've started to dip my toe into just recently is painting miniatures for games. Well, this is not, what do you do?
I paint like EV miniatures and stuff.
Okay, this isn't, what I'm doing is not, you've probably never heard of this game before. It's called Shadows of Brimstone.
Oh wait, I've seen it advertised. I've not.
Oh, you have? Okay,
Yeah.
great, because that makes
I like know someone off of social media who plays it.
All right, for anyone here who does not know what this game is, it's a board game, but it's played with miniatures. It's set in the Old West, but it has like a fantasy sci-fi setting. So you could be in a mine, and you could find a dimensional portal, and the next thing you know, you're in a derelict alien ship, or like a lost alien civilization, or something like that. So
Fun stuff.
Yeah, it is cool stuff, but it is played with miniatures. So I got like the 2 core sets and a couple of the expansions for other characters. And I got some paints, and I got like some tweezers and stuff. And there is a great store in Glenbury, Maryland, that has a lot of facilities, has a lot of equipment. They also have classes, but they just haven't had like any classes lately for beginner or novice painters. And that's kind of like what I'm waiting on right now.
Yeah.
Because I know I gotta like go and get the primer for it. I've got the official paints that they recommend use for it, and I've got like a little stainless steel ball bearings to paint from the wheeling, and all this
Yeah.
other epoxy to fill in the gaps with the miniatures. But I just want to make sure I know I'm not going to be like immediately successful, but I want to like reduce the chances of having it look as horrible as I know it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
This
I wanted
takes-
to make sure that I didn't go overboard on it and like get every single miniature. I was like, start with as basic as I can get, and then just go from there and see how well I do. And then
Yeah.
when I get more proficient at it, I'm just gonna go and I'll get some of the miniatures that interest me, because that line has gained a lot. Probably not as extensive as Warhammer, but still a lot. And I know I can fall down that rabbit hole pretty easy, but I'm looking at stuff and I just want to make sure, okay, how far down do I want to fall down this rabbit hole?
Yeah.
Probably don't want to make a huge investment on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's be careful in the rabbit holes, because some hobbies you can get sucked in very easily. Start simple, start small, start with something you like. So, like, I started sculpting because I wanted people to have Ember stuff. Ember's my favorite character, so I knew how to take extra care on it. And that's the easiest way to start. You start with something that, like, okay, I want to start with a gift for a friend. I don't really care for this character myself. You're not going to be as motivated to get started as much.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're going to be prepared to fail a few times starting, and you're not going to come out with a perfect thing right off the bat.
Right.
And that's why you start with something that you like. And you're going to be more mentally invested. Like if you go and find like your favorite figure of their set and start with that one.
Well, speaking of figures, that's my main hobby is toy collecting. So I'm an action figure thing. I've really limited it to just Masters of the Universe Origins. The thing is that line is winding down, so now Mattel has been pretty good about this. Actually, they're doing like now it's like the remainder figures are now online, but you've got to be there like the day that you have to be there, or else some of these figures will sell out like that. And it hasn't helped. I think the last figure they had, there was a hiccup with their payment system, so it was like they had problems with payment processing. So I'm hoping that will be fixed, because we got another figure coming up next week, I think, on that. But then the other line I'm collecting is McFarlane's relaunch of the Superpowers figures. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a line of, back in the day, Kenner had a line of DC Comics theme figures called Superpowers. And Todd McFarlane just like relaunched it with like brand new figures. Only problem is that some of these are store exclusives. So Walmart has been especially bad about getting these figures in. I think like the two that I'm looking for are Black Manta and a Reverse Flash figure, and those have been like practically non-existent here on the East Coast. I don't think any stores here ever got them. They're starting to like get delayed, the most current wave, but and just here's a horror story like beware. I was recently scammed by a guy who said that he could get me these figures, both of them, for like $130, but because these figures go for like way more on the secondary market. And I thought, fine. So I handled the transaction. We did it through Cash App, and I should have known something would tap up. But I should have seen the red flag when he gave me like Cash App tags for things that were not his name, that didn't have his name. So I was like, and then like he said he'd send them to me, and then like one day he was like no longer on. He reached out to me through Facebook. There's no longer on Messenger, no longer on Facebook. The guy had my money. At least the good part was that he only got like that much money from me, and doesn't have access to my bank account or whatever. But that's just like a thing that I need to be wary of.
I got an even worse story for you. So, I'm a mechanic. I work on this stuff. I had a 86 F-250, 6.9 Ideon. Got a performance pump for it. It was $1,300, brand new. Sold the truck. Sold the engine. I'm swapping in a Power Stroke into it, and sold the injection pump for $1,000 to a guy in Texas. I let him do the PayPal stuff, and he reversed it on me, refunded it, so I'm not getting my $1,000 back.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'll get, geez, man, yeah, that's the thing with these.
sucks.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any recourse with Cash App, I'm not sure, but I don't know. Yeah.
I think the issue is he put it as family I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So if it was an item, if it was under item, it would have been a whole lot different.
Yeah.
And that's another hobby that is not cheap.
No.
Being a mechanic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, because like all the equipment, tools and things like that.
You
all
can
the parts.
skip a lot of that through just getting the stuff through Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
I have a set of Harbor Freight sockets, impact sockets. I've never broken a single one
Oh, that's
out of
good.
3 years.
Oh, that's really good.
I've seen a couple crazy sockets snap on the first try.
I've got quite a bit of snap-on, but I only got the stuff that was actually important, like the hex bits and all those important little stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, don't get snap-on.
Really? Wow, that used to be like, I thought that was a standard.
To people who are dedicated
Yeah.
to mechanics, but I work on lawnmowers,
All right.
my own stuff, so Harbor Freight it is.
I dabble in that kind of thing. I've like upgraded my car's lights, so they used to be halogen bulbs, and I just went and got like a set of aftermarket LEDs. And
Pretty bright.
they're bright. Oh,
Yeah.
But I probably had to take, on my Hyundai, I had to probably take off those headlight assemblies more times than I care to count. I had to remove the bumper, yeah. I had to like get a specialized tool to get those nylon rivets out to remove them. And then I had to get the daytime running lights, and that was difficult because I had to find out what the right wattage was. And I thought like Sylvania would work for them, but apparently they didn't. I could not find any Sylvania bulbs in any like AutoZone or any auto parts store or any aftermarket store. And then when I finally did find one on mail order, I didn't realize this, but they have a little burr or weld just underneath where the diodes are, and that kept me from fitting them into these sockets and locking. I eventually went with like a third-party manufacturer who I'd never heard of before, and they ended up working great.
Yeah.
So I took a gamble, and the dice came up set
It
on that.
definitely would be, something like mechanic of the hobby. When I started working at the amusement park, I bought a snap-on toolbox, really nice snap-on toolbox. It's filled with pretty much everybody just about except for snap-on. Because you go out, you buy the cheapest tools that will serve your purpose, and as your hobby progresses, swap them out for more expensive stuff as you need to.
Yeah.
It was just a situation where, in most cases, I did not need to. And like as things went on, I did, I was used for 15 years, so stuff did break, and I did start replacing with Snap-on. But the majority of the tools were everybody but Snap-on. As I said, I bought a bunch of clay sculpting tools when I first got into clay sculpting. My hand was the only one tool I used. Like, this was almost entirely built with my hands. Very rarely did I grab any tools for it, for special sculpting. Now, it could have been smoothed out a lot better with the tools, but I had to get this Seaquestria Fest, and as you can see, I'm painting in here. When I'm done with this panel, I'm going to go up and start applying some details, which needs her eyeballs.
Don't tell the hotel people that he is painting.
Yeah, I put down my food. So if there's any skills, we'll back and look at it. And then I'm going to do the base when this wasn't done. She'll be done probably. She doesn't really need that much light. I was up till 3:30 in the morning painting this.
Wow, that's neat.
Yep.
You guys think, I actually can relate to your thing right now with the model making, because one thing I would love to possibly do myself is, well actually, I kind of inspired for this by seeing people from Constantine and make their own custom model props of characters for the show, but in order to get the parts and something you need, it's like probably cost you an arm and a leg, because the type of models they use to build the characters. Because if you want to do it that way, or if you're shells of bodies like 3D printed or whatever, but of course, me, I don't have like the gentle hand that a lot of the other guys do, and it's like, I don't make a mistake and have to start all over again. And because when we were doing this game earlier for the Buck Ball, it kind of reminds me of how the fans who have made those custom characters struggle with like the lighting on the characters because I don't know what I don't know if they use digital lighting back in the old days of the show, but if you get right on the first try, or if you're good to like go around an arch or whatever, you gotta take it all off and start over.
As I said, you'll get better as you do it. Don't go to a hobby thinking you're going to make the perfect results the first time. Now, this is my fourth ever, and I'm still going, definitely needs a lot of improvements. And of course, this one actually was partial.
Yeah, my first, so there's these things in crochet called granny squares, right? And just by the name, you can tell it's supposed to be a square. Well, my first one that I did, it was not square shaped. I did not know what I was doing. I was following a YouTube video, but I was not following it well. And it ended up looking like if you took a star and then you crumpled it up. Yeah. It had like 5 corners. I don't even know how I did it. Then I did it again, and it was like perfect. And I was like, how did I mess up so bad?
It just worked the second time, all right.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta go back, rewind, and then just like watch and be like, oh, and then you're learning like, oh, that's where I messed up. How did I mess up there? I don't know, but like, you know what, doesn't matter, because now we got it, and it's good. And now I made like a gazillion and 500 billion granny squares. I'm like addicted, it's a problem.
I mean, or don't explain about where you like, first start with the head, then you use the detail pieces, and 1, 2, 3, a circle of thingy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and never, ever, ever start a hobby for money.
That's very true.
You-
And it is a side hustle.
Yeah, because you're going to be making so many mistakes for a while that
You'll get frustrated.
to
You
get
have,
to the
like, an
point
end
that
goal.
you want to actually go and sell something,
Yeah.
you could be years in. Especially like if I wanted to just straight up open a store right now selling clay sculptures, I got to compete with these people that have been clay sculpting for 25 years.
Yeah.
And they're pumping out the most beautiful clay sculptures you've ever seen. That's why I do it for gifts for friends, a charity auction where someone's paying what they feel it's worth. And so in that case, all I care about is did the person who bought it, are they happy with what they paid for it? I mean, I kind of have like goals in mind for each sculpture we play in the charity auction, but in my head they're usually kind of low, but I don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So you want to start every hobby for yourself. Because the hobby is for you. It really is. You're starting your hobby to improve your own mental health. Whether you think about it that way or not, you don't just start going in there saying, I'm going to start doing this and start making lots of money for it.
Yeah.
If I had gone in saying, oh, I hear resin jewelry, you can make a lot of money off of that, which I did finally can. That first time when it failed, I would have been devastated. Oh man, I wasted all this money. But yeah, I did it as gifts for friends, did it for me. And if it picks up, maybe I would. But I did it because I wanted to try it. Yeah, I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah.
If you start putting the money, think about the money right away, it's not going to work. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be upset. I've had friends that have started hobbies, like they always think about that next quick get-rich-quick scheme. They hear about somebody else starting this hobby, and they've made $600,000 in the first 3 years. They start thinking, I can do the same thing.
Also, I don't think I want to add, like, don't do it for internet thing.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I don't even think about
Honestly,
anything.
because I make videos and I do these panels at Seaquestria Fest because I love entertainment and I love doing what I do. I mean, I'm actually thankful to Seaquestria Fest for giving me that chance to do that one panel that I've always wanted to do. And hey, if I go inside with a playing pole, I might get a chance to put my passion project of the demons and plowing.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I want to start a podcast or maybe a Twitch stream, but I'm not there to get attention. I know that there are people who are there who are getting attention. I think they seem to be going to do it for the wrong reason. It's led to a lot of drifting and things like that, which I don't like. I'd rather just be who I am and not betray my own ethics or my own values or whatever. If people want to come and find it, then they'll find it. But I'm not like going to go out of my way and try to make myself into something I'm not. I just want to be honest and stuff. And if it's a Twitch stream, play the games I want to play, and on the thing, it's like, you know, find on my YouTube channel, you know, or my podcast, and it's like, find the things I want to discuss and don't be part of that anti-fandom rage mob or whatever it is that's out there. You know, I want to come from a place of like appreciating this stuff and not hating on it, because there's too much of that negativity going on. And I think people are doing it for the money.
I knew somebody that did Twitch streaming, and he was always going out there saying, "Oh, these videos are the ones that everyone's watching right now." And they'll go out and they buy that game, so they're playing that game. People like that game, but they don't like it. That's what people are watching. That's what they want.
Well, if people want to watch me play an old game from like 10, 20, 30 years ago, you know, fine, let them.
Yeah.
I don't really like many of the games that are coming out now.
Yeah.
You know, at least not the stuff at least not the ones from like the AAA producers. I find that a lot of the stuff I'm interested in is mostly like coming from the indie sector or whatever. Unless it's Bethesda or whatever, I know Bethesda's got their issues, but Fallout, yes, I know. I'm waiting to play. I want to play Starfield, but I want to wait till it gets good.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love when I tell people I live in Bethesda, and they say, "Wait, that's our business." Even though the headquarters has always been in Rockville.
Yeah.
But they need that Bethesda.
ZeniMax had an office near where we lived in Hunt Valley, but I think that's closed down now, and I think they moved it closer to Rockville.
Well, the actual Bethesda studios, they were always in Rockville. They were bought out by, it became ZeniMax Media, and they had ZeniMax Online, which was the Elder Scrolls Online.
Right.
They were up in Hunt Valley. And I've talked to a few of their developers when I was going to school for game development. I used to have a poster signed by a lot of directors for that game. If I do it a few years later, I'd be friends with somebody who likes that game, I'll put that poster. But yeah, so like, go back to my friend who was in the streaming, they were just focusing on always getting the view counts, the followers. I never would look at my follower count on anything. You know, if people want to follow me on Twitter, I won't follow it. If they want to follow me on Twitter, they can follow me on Twitter. If they don't like what I'm posting, they can leave. I don't really care. I think that's my space.
Yeah.
I don't look at my account and say, "Oh shit, I lost followers today," or "I gained followers." It's not. I'm not here for fame. I just like posting my art and stuff I do. And I do get discouraged if I post a cool new update and nobody likes or comments on it. But then when I do something and someone does say, "Oh, I haven't followed this project since you started." And it happened to me in 2022. I went to Cyberfest with 3 dragons. I had Ember, Smolder, and Spike. And I thought not a lot of people would really follow me. I would get a comment here or there from the same people. Because of course, you know, you have a Twitter account, you realize that you'll get your likes and your comments usually by the same 3 people.
Usually the algorithm does not like you.
Yeah, but then when I actually brought them there and I was like setting up in the auction room, people walked up to me, "Oh yeah, I'm following you making these dragons on Twitter since you started. I'm so happy to see them in person." And like that meant a lot to me. Yeah, and that one, the Ember for that set, actually sold for about $450. And she was a little taller than this one. And I was just like blown away. And I had a broken smolder, like the base shattered, because I had a clay base on that one, and the base completely shattered. And she sold for $225. And then the Spike, which I actually gave his rarity plushie to, because that's one of my favorite visual gags around Spike, was the fact that he has a rarity plush. So I made Spike actually holding a rarity plush. And he sold for 100. And you combine, I was like, wow, that is amazing. Now Foley came out there and didn't watch Spike sell. And she was like, oh, what did Spike sell for? Well, 100. I should have gone for a lot more than that. Once a year, like, that was amazing. somebody paid $100 for my Spike. And I went up on stage, and because Rarity was a separate piece, and actually put Rarity in Spike's arms, and like the entire crowd just went, aww.
Yeah, I remember that. That was so.
And then last year for Windy City, I did Sleepy Bee, one of their mascots, who is always sleeping and always tired, obviously. And when they pulled that sculpture out once again, like the entire crowd just went, aww. And this was like at the end of their auction when they were getting ready for closing ceremonies. So for me, the coolest part about that auction was the fact that a lot of my friends were up on stage at the time, because Charlie the Conjurer was up there getting ready for closing ceremonies. He was auctioning it off along with Taylor, Red Card, was of course helping. Vivid Syntax was up on stage at the time.
I love it.
And actually, I think Vivid started the auction. I actually said, like, hey, where's Coaster? Because he made this really adorable sleepy thing. And actually, that one was a situation where I had a higher value in my mind for the sell for, and it didn't sell for that. And so I was a little disappointed, but just having like all the friends up there auctioning it off, and that crowd's reaction was worth it. So that's what you do your hobbies for. To move until time here, you're doing your hobbies for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing it to make money. You're not doing it to gain fame. You want to always start your hobby to make yourself happy. Yeah, de-stress.
Yeah, very important.
If your hobby involves getting followers, or basically involves getting somebody else to do something,
That's gonna make you stressed out too.
that's what's going to stress you out the most.
You'd be like, dang, this only got so many likes. I'm disappointed in myself.
One last question. How do you feel about combining two hobbies?
That's numerous hobbies.
Well, just to let you know.
This right here is a combination of woodworking, LED programming, eBaying, game programming, because I said that last year, one of the games, one of the LEDs I did was an actual video game. It's actually set up right now in my room, if you want to play it. And, that was a combination of hobbies. Absolutely.
I mentioned it because it is the official Elder Scrolls program.
I own it, and it's really good. I've made like half the recipes. Trying to think what I forgot what they're called. Oh, wait. Oh my gosh. Wait. Okay. My brain's not working. The things that you eat in Skyrim that are shaped like
sweet roll.
sweet roll. Thank you. I was like Skyrim.
Fun.
Yes, the recipe for sweet rolls. I make them all the time. People beg me to make them for them. It's so good. Please make sweet rolls. It is amazing, and I love them so much.
I go back to combining hobbies. I would definitely put the caution out and make sure you're good at one.
That's true.
Don't
That's
just take two hobbies that you have never tried before.
and be like, this'll work.
Like the resin jewelry thing. I started with the clay sculpting, which I already do, and already have techniques down for sculpting clay. In fact, I was telling Harmony earlier before the panel that like the way I started with clay sculpting was I took the cutie mark that I wanted to sculpt, put it on my tablet, and made the clay so thin that you can see through it, and basically traced the cutie mark of the object I wanted to do in the clay, baked that, use that as a template to make a thicker piece, because of course the clay that thin is not going to get you very far. And then I baked that, and then used that to actually make my final piece that I was going to fully sculpt into the shape I wanted. And so, if I had just started, I never touched clay before, I'd never touched resin before, I might have tried just making the piece right off the bat, and I would have had this ugly thing that wouldn't be close to the shape that I wanted. And I would have been discouraged, and I would have had this resin sitting here waiting for clay to be done. I'm being frustrated by the clay not getting done because it wasn't a thing like what I'm looking for. And like I actually do have a set where, a hobby where I've kind of gone a little overboard and made zero progress on, and believe it or not, that's cosplay. Yeah, I got my master cosplay, fail and get discouraged, and it's ugly, and that is definitely a case where I went overboard, because I was trying to do a Ember, almost like a fursuit type deal, but I wanted to do it out of vinyl, a little more dragon leather like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually bought all the vinyl, literally violated everything I was saying earlier in this panel, and bought all the vinyl for this. And I knew I was going to do it, starting with a template with a cheaper material. But I jumped the gun and already bought all the vinyl for it. So I got all this vinyl for it, and haven't made any progress. And I think I started this about a year ago.
It's a big process. Even I don't think I could do that, I'm not gonna lie.
Vinyl's not very easy to work with, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to sewing stuff, you get one try.
Yeah.
Like, I messed up on clay, I can just start again. Recondition some new clay, start all over again. Not a
You
big deal.
can rip the seams out, but it's not gonna be near as strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
So, yeah, don't be afraid to fail. Do it for yourself. Start cheap. Do it for yourself. I can't stress that enough. Is start your hobby doing it for yourself. Start it with something that you really like. So
Yeah.
if you want to start a hobby, start with a character that really means a lot to you. Because you're going to put a little more effort. You're going to want to keep trying to get a little better. You're not going to come up with the greatest thing right off the bat, but try to make sure you can finish it. So, finishing the piece first and then starting the next one will actually make it better than trying to get that perfect piece right off the bat. Get it, finish it, look at it, kind of do like a post-mortem in your head, you know what a post-mortem is, where you kind of look at your last project and what you kind of discuss in your mind, what went well, what didn't go well, and get that before the next one. Because I'd be sitting here sculpting forever if I was trying to get a perfect ember on the first try.
That's true.
She wouldn't even be done with that. Years later. And I probably would have thrown it away at some point, because I'm like, this is really.
Nothing is perfect, especially when you start. And it looks like we are
We're out of time.
out of time. But real quick, I have 2 questions for you regarding Elder Scrolls. One, what's your favorite region, like of quests?
Right now I'm playing Libya.
Oblivion?
As a summoner slash blade.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, my character can use blade weapons, so it's
That's so cool.
Wonderful. I've got a more panel-related question for everybody. Sitting through us talking about hobbies and starting them, and everybody kind of giving out their thoughts about the hobbies they have, who came up with a new hobby during this hour? Thought, yeah, maybe I'll try starting that. I'm thinking about this, but sitting through this panel, I'm thinking I'm actually going to try it.
Make it fursuit head.
Fursuit head.
That's
Starting.
cool. Yeah.
I want to make it out of fiberglass instead of foam.
See,
And I want to do my own custom cooling setup too.
okay.
With radiators and fans and all that.
Okay.
That was like the goal of this panel, is to get people motivated to try to start that new hobby.
I'm gonna motivate you guys to play an Elder Scrolls game. Ooh, they're really good. And Elder Scrolls Online is coming out with a new region too soon, so that'll be a great time to start playing. You get a free pro pet when you play it, so that's really fun. The pre-order is out now for Gold Road. I'm not sponsored. It's just, I love the game.
Yeah, that's our panel.
All right, thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you had fun, and that you also learned some things, and that you just had a really good time conversing. Thank you.
awesome.
In the next couple of minutes, you can play the panel if you want. That is there. You can play with it.
You said that these are actually made with actual ride parts.
Yep.
That's what I used to work.
Facebook page?
I do not, but my team with Crackle with Cosplay on Facebook.
might be x_Crackle.
Yeah, I think you're doing
I
the,
have an Instagram. That's fine. That's okay.
Facebook page,
Oh yeah, I don't have.
Be careful with these stuff that's actually,
I'm not really on social media.
oh, you turn it back on.
If you want to follow our Instagram, that's us. We all
well,
look
that one, the
kind of
write-off are good to provide.
I'll definitely think about it.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, right here.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, like this would be a ride stop button that I would find like carousel.
Yeah.
And these two you would actually see on your roller coaster.
Okay.
Like this style, this